All right, Homesteader family, welcome back to the journey. Welcome to this edition of the Sunday Monday vlog. Whew, it's been a busy, hot day. We've been in the mid 80s today. Got a little bit of work done today, not too much work done. Got more work done yesterday than anything else. But going over this past week, I know a lot of people wanted to see the windowsills done. They wanted to see the trim done. They wanted to see the tiny home done. And I totally took a right angle, maybe a left turn, right turn, who knows. And I went a different direction. So one of my wonderful subscribers out there decided to give me a bunch of lumber to do the solar rack. So as you guys saw from all the posts of the solar rack that I built, that took a lot of time. A lot of hot days, a lot of work, but the solar system is finally set up. So the only thing I'm missing now is I need 4 batteries. So instead of working on the tiny home, the shed, conversion, whatever you want to call it, I got the solar done. So that's a major step forward. I have the AC set at 62. The AC unit that was broke and was not working. And since I have people in here now, let me make sure the chat is on. Since for some reason, live chat. Nope. So I guess I gotta set that chat setting every time now. Plans always change. You got that right, DT. So that's gonna be a headache, YouTube, that I gotta go in and change that to live chat instead of just a top comment. But if you guys comment now, I can see your comments. I'll remember to do that, or try to remember to do that every live video I do. So I didn't get the tiny home done. I did get the solar done. I got the AC unit on the 62 degrees. It's running, going over every day. The battery's 100%, but that's because it's only running AC unit and it's only charging my 2 Bluetooth speakers. So I'm not using a lot of power. So of course I'm going to be at 100% because my array is set to charge 6 batteries. So I definitely have plenty of power right now. Now, if I moved over there and I had fridge and freezer and TV and all that stuff running, I don't have enough storage capacity through cloudy days to get me through. I am tentatively, or however you say it, it's a long day. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. But I'm looking at possibly like May 1st-ish. Don't hold me to it. That I might be headed to the homestead. So what I'm going to try to do is we got a bunch of rainy days coming up. I got a little like half-gallon, 3/4-gallon steam cleaner. It's made for like spot cleanups on steps and stuff like that. So I'll have to do a lot of cleaning or emptying to clean one of these sectionals because only one of the sectional couches will go to the homestead. Or yeah, to the homestead, to the tiny home. Now, the dogs are going to have issue with that because, as you see, 2 dogs, if a 3rd dog got up there, the couch is completely full, and there's going to be 4 dogs and this homesteader. So I might have to lay across the top of the couch to get me any type of space because we know they're going to hog the couch up, but that's my goal. I'm going to, on the rainy days, I'm going to try to get the couches cleaned up, get them steam cleaned, get one sectional taken over there. What I'm thinking about doing is changing a little bit. Instead of finishing the tiny home, I can sand and stain the trim outside on the trailer and then just bring in and nail it to the wall. So it's not like I'm cutting and sanding and all that stuff in the tiny home. So I'm going to try to do that over the next couple weeks with the rainy days when I can't do anything at the homestead. Get that cleaned, get that moved over there. Put the couch on stilts, dog fit under it too. No, DT. You see how spoiled them dogs are? They need a nice comfy couch. They work way too hard to lay on the ground like Max right down here. You can see his back right there. Every once in a while, he'll lay on the ground, but most of them like to be on the couch. So, let's see. Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is actually on the ground over there, right there by the firewood. So they do like the concrete because it's cool. In the shed, they're not staying in the shed yet because they have nowhere to lay, and the plastic flooring. They're not used to it, so they got to get used to that. But I want to get a couch over there. I want to get all my tools. I'm going to get the scaffolding and all that stuff pulled out of the shed, so that way I got plenty of space. I'm going to move the couch in there, just one of the sectionals. I'm going to try to take some of my cabinets, like the cabinet over there for the microwave. I've got a bunch of cabinets behind here that I had in the shed originally. So those of you that have been following the journey know I bought all those cabinets. Started working on the shed when I first moved out here, and then moved them into Carla's house, and then got my stuff back when I moved into here. And they're probably going to go back into the shed yet again. So they've had a big journey. But I'm thinking about doing some of the countertop and base cabinets. I'm not sure about top cabinets because then that's going to close in space. So I'm thinking just base cabinets, so I have a little bit of storage in there. Some countertops. I want to get a microwave taken over there. I have a TV here and a TV in the bedroom. I'm thinking about taking one of the flat screens over there, and I'm going to have to get a wall mount so I can put it on the wall, so I don't have to have something for the TV to sit on, so that way I take up less space. And start getting everything over there, get a couple battery chargers over there, phone charger over there, and have everything here as well. So I have one TV here, one TV there, one couch here, one couch there. The only difference is I only have one bed. So my bed's going to stay at the restaurant, because this is most likely where I'm spending most of my time. But starting in May, I'm going to try to start doing like maybe one day over there, 2 days here, or every other day. I'll have to see how my power is and things like that. Besides the solar this week, yesterday I started on fencing again. I got 7 posts dug and concreted. So it's not much, but it's a start. I started moving some branch piles so I can get ready to do a string line, paint the ground for all the T-posts, get ready to do the T-post. And this week has become very expensive. Not only did I have to buy all the different hardware and stuff like that for that solar rack to try to get that figured out, but the trips back and forth to Harrison with gas and all that I put on my credit card. Well, as you saw for the solar rack, I had T-posts across the whole front. Every leg got a T-post. Every leg in the back is supposed to have a T-post. I haven't done it yet. My T-post driver that I had from Colorado, the Rhino, that I've had for like 7 years, after 7 years of sitting out in the weather, the engine finally seized. I got some T-posts done, and then that's it. Went to the Rhino website. It's $2,500 now for that T-post driver. So I'm going to try to find the email of the owner that I did that little like sponsored video back in the day for them, for it being discounted. I'm going to see if I can get a replacement engine, because Steve said he can swap out the engine if I can get another engine. Everything else when it works great. So 7 years later, still in the weather. Still works good. It's just water got down, ate the seals out or something like that, Steve was saying. So I went to Home Depot because I only got, I think, like $900 left in credit line on my credit cards now. $346. It's out of China. Yep, wonderful China. Don't like doing that, but I don't have $2,500 to buy a new one. So this one, 50% of the views are bad, 50% of them are good. So it's not too bad. It's lighter than the Rhino. Easily lighter than the Rhino, because you could see one arm. I can hold it. So I got that. So that's one of my major expenses this week, was I had to buy a new T-post driver. I needed to anchor the back of the solar panels before the storms come in, because if we end up having a lot of high winds, the back of the solar system is not anchored to the ground whatsoever. So if a big gust of wind comes and hits that, and as you see for the picture for this video, I put my pickup truck by the solar rack so everybody can see how massive the solar rack is. Because just looking at it, you can't really tell. It's over 60 feet long. So you can see my pickup truck is only a small little portion of that entire rack. But if a big gust of wind comes from the back and takes it, I don't know because it's a lot of pressure treated wood and I put braces across, back and forth, and the whole front is anchored. I still have feeling that it could lift and snap the front leg somehow. So I do need to get T-posts in. I need to get the next pen done by May 1st. That's my goal. Can't do that without all the T-posts that I need for all those thousands of feet. So I had no option but buying one. So $346. The reviews are 50% bad, 50% good. I'm going to find out if it's a good purchase or if it's going back to Home Depot. It's a US Extreme Power post driver, Paul driver. So we're going to find that out. So that's my first big expense. Well, first big expense was the solar rack, doing all that, running back and forth to town. Second big expense this past week was that. And the third big expense was I was talking to Steve about mechanical work on my truck. And sure enough, now my brakes are squeaking. So I need all new brake pads all the way around. So I've got that scheduled Tuesday at 2 o'clock to get my brakes done on my truck. So been an expensive week. Hey, friend in Ohio has solar panels. Before storm turned them upside down to protect from hail. We just had hail. Oh, that's not good, Norman. Yeah, I'm hoping, knock on wood, bad weather seems to avoid this alien. We have, see, I've been out in the sun all day. I've been working too hard. I can't even think. Western Grove. So we have Western Grove to the north of us, and we have Gilbert just to the south of us. And both of them got hail like a week ago, and I didn't get anything here. So it tends to work in my favor. Just benefit of being an alien. Knock on wood, you never know. But so far, I've been lucky. So we're going to find out. But yes, I do want to get the back anchored down so that way they can't flip or anything like that with the storm coming. This upcoming week, I'm going to be working on fencing. We have, I think, 4 to 6 days of rain possibly coming up. They're talking some heavy rain. So the rain days, I'm going to be cleaning couch. I'm going to go through all the boxes of my grandfather's stuff back here. I'm going to go through my stuff. I'm going to start getting my stuff condensed down to a smaller portion. I'm going to, whatever I need to trash, use the dumpster, get rid of all my trash. I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say it, but I'm going to warn everybody. So we all know I don't believe anybody unless it happens. So right now, last week I had somebody interested in the homestead and I was supposed to hear back. Never heard back. So I don't hold my breath for nobody. But I am under contract for the restaurant for a week and a half from this week or last week or whatever it was, by the 16th. So I don't hold my breath, but if the contract goes through, it's a cash buyer looking at buying the restaurant. If that happens, in the contract right now, I have 25 days after closing. So that way I have the money from the sale to be able to get another shed put over there within 25 days, and then move everything in here into the shed. And then I'll move into my other shed. That will also give me the money to order the other 4 batteries for the solar system. So then I'll have an entire house system for the shed, which I'll have way more power than I'll need at that point, which is fine. Better to have more power than not enough power. And then I'm going to buy some water cisterns, probably put gutters on the shed to start collecting rainwater and try to figure out some type of water system. In the meantime, if all this does go through, it's going to change all my plans because I won't be focusing on just the pen. I won't be focusing on the homestead as much. It's going to be focusing on trying to get everything out of here, get this place completely cleaned, vacuumed, wiped down, and everything per the contract. Yard has to be mowed and everything when I move out after that 25 days. So I'll have all that focus in changing, which is a good change and a bad change. Bad change because I'm not going to have running water over there. I had planned to do laundry here, which means I'm going to be doing laundry in Harrison. I'll probably end up getting a gym membership in Harrison, so that way I have somewhere to go take showers until I can get water completely set up at the homestead somehow. I don't know, because before we know it, winter will be here again, and unless I have something waterproof, or not waterproof, winterproof, freeze-proof, that's not going to happen. So that might change all the plans going into the summer, but we'll find out. Like I said, until money goes to my bank and money goes to my mortgage company, I'm not holding my breath, because like last week, somebody said they want the land, they got the cash for land, nothing happened with the land. So I don't hold my breath on that. This upcoming week, like I said, I'm going to focus on the pen. I'm going to work as much this month as I can getting in the post. If this T-post driver ends up working out, then I'm going to be driving T-post while the concrete cures, because I need a couple weeks for the concrete to cure for when the H-braces. Once they cure, then I can get them built. And then as soon as they're built, I can stretch the fence and temporarily clip them to the T-post so I can get the animals into the pen. However, I have like 3, 4, 5,000 feet of fencing to do, and we're already through the first week of April. So the odds of me getting it done by May 1st is slim. If I do get it done by May 1st, then I'm going to try to get moving over to the tiny home by then. But then again, if this contract goes through on the 16th, then I'm going to be focusing everything on ordering a shed, getting a shed delivered, getting a shed taken up to the home site, get the shed set up, get stuff in here cleaned up, get things boxed up. I got to get boxes or totes or whatever. Then I need to get everything moved over. Hello, Amanda. How are you? Get everything moved over to the shed. Once everything's moved over there, or before I move everything over there, I got to figure out, what do I need now? What do I need later? What am I not going to use until the house is built? So that way I don't put stuff in the shed in the back that I need right away, and then I have to go digging through the shed. Steve said I should build a shed because I can build a shed cheaper, and I'm sure a lot of you believe that too, and it's true. However, 25 days is not enough time for me to do that, along with hauling water and feeding the animals, the maintenance, the mowing of the yard here, and everything else. Trying to box everything up and get everything moved. I can only do so much. So buying a shed, yes, I'm going to be using a lot of the money just to buy another building that eventually I don't really need. I guess will be tool storage or something maybe in the future once I get the house built. But that's the only way I'm going to be out of here in 25 days is I'm going to have to buy a shed right away, get it scheduled within a few weeks, get it over there, and then get everything moved out of here. And then once everything's moved out of here, deep clean it, mow the yard, turn the keys over, I'm out of here, and then on to the next adventure. However, like I said, until Colorado sells, I don't have money to build a house. So even with the restaurant selling, $70,000 is going to the mortgage. I'm under contract for $108,500. So it doesn't leave me too much more after the $70,000 when you figure a shed's going to probably be about 10 grand for 24 foot. The 4 batteries I need, that's another 6 grand. 3,000 gallon water cisterns, they're about $3,000 a piece. There's another 6 grand. Gutters for the shed, downspouts, PVC piping, water lines, water pump, pressure tank, I need a building for all that. So I might have to build a temporary water house. The title of the video, since I haven't talked about that yet, tearing out the brand new solar. So I do plan to tear out all the solar that I just put in. I should say Steve put in, because Steve's the one that did all the solar system. I don't know anything about it. I have a lot of people asking me for information about it. I know nothing about solar. I just know what Steve had me buy, and that was that. You can get a shed delivered pretty cheap. We sell Amish built ones where I work. They self-finance. Not necessarily, Michael. My shed that I have right now, it's a 12 by 24. And I believe when I first moved out here, I got the mortgage against the homestead to get the shed as well. And I think my shed was like $9,200 or $9,300. If you make the monthly payments, if you do the financing, if you look at the details, it's like 50% interest. So it's very, very expensive in the long run. If you buy the shed outright, it's the cheapest way to go. So that was $9,300 back in 2020 when the pandemic was going crazy. So I don't know if they've gone up. I don't know if they've gone down. I haven't even looked at sheds. Now, like my grandmother tells me all the time, my mama in Colorado, she's like, well, you should be doing this and this and this and this and this. And like I tell her, why go look at sheds and look at prices of sheds and find out delivery times of sheds when the contract's not even through? So I don't do anything before I know it's a guaranteed thing. I make sure the money's in the account, because then I know it's there. I can spend it. If I go and talk to a shed company, do all this, and I go buy totes, which I don't have money to buy totes and boxes and all that stuff, they went up just like everything else. Well, then I might be looking at $12,000 to $15,000 for a shed. I don't know. We'll find out when we get to that point. Like I said, I haven't even looked, because I've had all different people say they're interested. All different people say they're ready to close, and nothing ever happens. So until that happens, we'll go from there. But to the title of the video tonight is tearing out the new solar. So in between the shed and where the solar panel racks are, I'm going to build a concrete cinder block building. So as everybody knows, I'm going to do a cinder block house. I'm going to do a cinder block building around the porta potty, outhouse, whatever you want to call it, the pooper, crapper, what have you. So I'm going to do one around the crapper. I'm going to do one for the power for the solar. So I'm going to do those two buildings first. Then I think I'm going to focus possibly on doing the barn third. And then I'm going to do my house last. So that way I can, if I mess up on the crapper, it's a crappy building. It's fine. Then the power building, I should have some more experience and knowledge going into the second building. And the building, like I said, is going to go between the shed and the solar rack. And then all that big massive inverter that's on the wall in the tiny home, and the big metal box, the battery box that's in there, all that's going to get ripped out the shed. A true brick shit house. Yep, you got that right, Michael. But it's not going to be bricks. It's going to be blocks, cinder blocks. So, a true block house. Yeah. But anyhow, so I'm going to have that in between the shed and the solar panels. I'm going to move the battery bank over there. I'm going to move the inverter over there. The only thing that's going to stay in the shed / tiny home is going to be the breaker box. I'll run a power line from there. So what I want to do is have a power station building. I'm thinking I'm probably going to do a 4 by 8 foot, put fake brick panels on it. DT, I'll leave you and Michael to the brickwork. You guys can come and do the fancy, smancy, good looks, since I don't do them. But I'm going to do like a 4 by 8 building with cinder blocks. Cut it in half to have a 4 foot by 4 foot and a 4 foot by 4 foot room. The inverter and batteries will go in one of the 4 foot rooms, and then the generator's going to go in the other one. So all my power will be there. I'll be able to run excuse me, a main power line from the power building to the shed breaker box, so I have power in the shed. And then eventually I'll be able to get more inverters to get more power to bump my amps or volts or something, whatever. I don't know. This is Steve. This is Steve's domain, not mine. But then I'll be able to have more power in my house. So then I'll run a power line to my house and then maybe run a power line over to the crapper. So that way I got lights in the crapper. Maybe a fan. Who knows? Grizzly One, I thought you were going to do the foam block construction. That was in Colorado. And I was going to do Fox blocks. Your brother is bricklayer. There you go, Michael. Bring your brother out to do the brick. Grizzly One. So I was doing Fox blocks for the house in Colorado. I don't know if I talked about doing that out here. I might have thought about it. I might have said it maybe. But the Fox blocks in Colorado, this was prior to the pandemic. And I was looking at over $10,000 just for the Fox blocks. With cinder blocks being as cheap as they are, and me not wanting to screw up too bad, because with the Fox blocks and all those different foam block systems, if you don't have the right supports on the walls and stuff like that, you get blowouts, and then you can ruin the entire thing. And this way, with the cinder blocks, I can do one layer of block, fill concrete up halfway through the block, so that way I have interlock with block for the next block with concrete that will go through the next layer down to that one. All the blocks are going to be filled with concrete. All the blocks are going to have a stick of rebar. It's going to be an overbuilt fortress. Didn't spend a lot of money on it, but I can build it at my pace. With the Fox blocks and everything, if you look at all the foam and insulation and all that type of stuff, it can only be exposed to the sun for so many days. I think it's like 30 to 45 days before it starts damaging the Fox blocks and stuff like that. You have to keep them covered, or you got to hurry up, get them up, and then get the outside coated with the sealant that they have and the inside coated as well. Because it's just me, there's no way I'm going to be able to do all that at once. So I switched to cinder blocks and got rid from the foam block. I am going to do a Fox block type of system myself. So I'm going to do cinder block walls for the house, and then I'm going to get 2-inch foam boards that I'm going to bolt into the cinder blocks after the walls are done on the outside. So I have the cinder blocks inside. With Fox blocks, you got foam on both sides, so you don't get any type of mass cooling or mass heating because it's insulated around the mass. I want the mass inside the house, and this is another reason why I switched to the cinder blocks. Like my house in Colorado that I built the wood stove into the mountain and used all those granite boulders as a mass heater, and it radiated inside the house for days and days and days. With the cinder blocks exposed and the foam on the outside, that's going to keep the hot and cold from the outside from penetrating the cinder block. However, just like in here, the concrete floor in the dead of summer is cool, not ice cold, but it's cooler than it is outside. Those cinder block walls inside the house in the summer will be cooler than outside. With an air conditioning unit inside my house, it will be cooling, or because I'll probably have multiple AC units, will be cooling inside the house, which keeps the cinder blocks cool, which is a mass cooling system for the house. Wintertime, I'll have a wood stove or propane. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet. But the foam outside is stopping the penetration of cold into the block, and the heat source inside soaks into the cinder blocks and radiates. So I want to use it as a mass heating system, a mass cooling system. So that's why I'm going to do that. But like I said, I want to do the crapper first, do the radiant heat and the floor PEX tubing. Yes, I'm also thinking about that too, Michael, except one thing I've learned so far in my homesteading journey, I know it's not long for most of you because most of you guys are boomers out there, but I do listen to my elders. I do learn from my elders, even though I'm millennial. And I do see the boomers that are getting older and older that do homesteading, that do fencing, do things like that. It's getting harder for them to do stuff. They're needing to find help or have family or friends or whatever have you help them out on certain things that they can't do anymore, or they're having to downsize because they can't do it. So like I've told Steve a bunch of times in talks, and I'm trying to advise him to do the same as well, is I'm setting up everything for me where if I'm in a wheelchair, I'm able to stay on the homestead. Now you may be asking how and stuff like that, but one of the things like the PEX and the wood burning boiler thing, stuff like that, getting old sucks. Well, I don't know, Michael. I don't know about getting old. I'm just 37. I'm still waiting for puberty to hit. So I'm not there yet. So I have no idea. But I know eventually this alien around 167 to 187, when I'm getting towards that 200-year mark, I know I'm going to feel it. So the PEX idea, I did that for the 2 concrete pads in Colorado underneath those shipping containers that I use for the animals. 55 in May. Well, happy early birthday, Michael. So I've used the PEX before. I never set up the system. I did it underneath the shipping containers for the animal on the ranch. So that way I could heat those floors in the winter, help the animals stay warmer. So I do want to do PEX, but I'm going to do a 55-gallon drum, most likely you're welcome, of coolant. And I want to build a solar sun radiator system. So I'll have a big black box coiled, and as that heats, it will draw the fluid through. I can run a small little pump to help move it, but then that way the sun does all the work. I don't have to cut wood. I don't have to move wood. And that way, as I get older, most people build cabins to be most self-sufficient, totally off the grid when they're young. And then they get older and they can't handle the work. So then if they don't have family, they have to move to town or they have to move into a nursing home. With me, I'm going the opposite. I'm starting looking at old and making everything super simple. So in my house, I'm going to next to my house by the power station building I'm going to get a 1,000-pound propane tank. So a lot of people are like, well, that's going to cost money. You're not off the grid, stuff like that. If we have the systems, you might as well use the systems. And I know getting older, you need the systems more than anything else. So 1,000-pound propane tank. I'll be able to have blue flame heaters inside the house with thermostats. So as I get older, if I can't haul wood in, well, my house isn't just wood. I don't have the power to do electric heat, but propane, I'll be able to do propane. My house is going to be a single-story house, so no stairs. So as I get older, I don't have to worry about walking upstairs. I'm on top of the mountain. Everything's flattened out around the house, so walking around the house, or if I need put concrete pad around the house for a deck or porch or whatever for wheelchair accessible, I'll be able to do that. My truck, circle driveway, come right up to the house. I can get out the truck right into the house, from the house right into the truck. My water system, I'll have a water building, electric building, the crapper building, just to have one. Once I have the house, I'll have indoor plumbing, so that won't be a thing. But by making everything simple like that, the PEX, like I said, do the solar radiating thing. I can also make solar hot boxes that you can stack cans inside of a 4x8 thing, put glass on it, spray paint everything black. The sun heats it up, draws hot, cold air, turns it into hot air coming into your house at 90 some degrees. I can do a bunch of those different things. So that's my goal, is make my house my final house. A house that not that I just want to live in now, but a house that I can live in when I get older, because I've seen so many people have to move from their dream because they can't maintain. One of the benefits for me is with the VA, when I get to the point I can apply for a caretaker for my injuries that I sustained in the military. But I've got to be a certain age and stuff like that. But when I get to that, if I have a house without stairs, if I have a house that I don't have to move wood or anything like that, everything's automatic, then it's super simple. The only different thing that's going to be difficult is animals, because animals always need feed, they always need water. But eventually, when I build the cinder block barn, which, like I said, the crapper, the power building, then the barn, then the house. Yeah, solar heat works real good. My neighbor had it out in Colorado. Michael, what does propane cost in your area? Well, Grizzly One, right now, if I take I don't know the grill barbecue bottles, because I don't have any of those. I take 30, 40, 100 pound, and it's $4.89 a gallon. The one guy I know, he just did $3.99 a gallon. But if you get it from the big propane tanks that are here on the side of the road that they deliver, you can't fill bottles there. But delivery, it's $1.99 a gallon. So it's not cheap, but I do plan to do my dryer on propane, a propane stove, and a propane hot water heater. By doing those three things in propane, that saves so much power consumption, because anything with a heating element takes a lot of power, and with me being on solar, you don't want to use a lot of power, or you don't want a lot of heating elements being used. So in my house in Colorado, I found the trick, and for a lot of you out there are probably new to the channel, I had a propane or barbecue 20-pound propane bottle on my cooking stove. If I leave the bottle on with the little light, the pilot light, if I left the stove on with the pilot light, a 20-pound propane tank was empty in, like, I want to say 12 days. That pilot light and my cooking killed a bottle in 12 days. If I turned the bottle off every time and turned it on when I wanted to cook and relit the pilot light every time, which is a pain in the butt, there's your convenience right there, my bottle would last 38 days. I would get more than 3 times the amount of cooking out of that bottle by just turning the bottle off and not letting that pilot light go. So I've worked with propane before. 250-gallon tank in your area is $4.10 a gallon for bulk delivery. Out here, all the different ones, they say $1.99 to, I think the highest one I've seen is $2.09. Oh, wow. Yeah, so I guess propane's cheaper here in Arkansas there. Now, in Colorado, filling up my small bottles, I was paying, I think, $1.69 at Tractor Supply. So it was real cheap to fill my bottles up. Out here, $4.89 or $3.99 a gallon, is expensive to me compared to Colorado. But that's the only thing that's more expensive here than in Colorado. It was around $1.99, $2.50 here in Ohio for propane 7 years ago. $5 a gallon. Wow. Yeah. No, it's $1.99. I mean, the one station is like a quarter mile up the road from the restaurant. And then we got another one out in Pendle. But yeah, so that's my plan. That's my goal, is to get a 1,000-pound propane tank, because I shut my propane off all the time. I don't leave pilot lights going. I don't leave the gas coming in. You save a lot of money that way. Like I said, just cooking on my stove in Colorado, 12 days versus 38 days for the headache of starting and stopping every time. It's worth it. The Mario On Demand hot water heater that I use from Home Depot, they're the cheapest ones. All the reams and stuff for like $1,800. Mari's I was buying for like $299. Worked perfect. Never had issues with it. Yep, everything wants you back in the city, and that's why they're trying to work on the smart cities. And somewhere overseas, I just saw a thing last night that they already have one of the smart cities up overseas, and no matter what you have to do in that city, the longest walk from any point is 15 minutes walking. So you don't need cars or anything there. Everything is walking. I'm sure they're going to have a shuttle system or something like that. I didn't watch the whole video, but they already have something like that going. But yes, that's what it is. It's all about convenience, because the more convenience you have, the more money you have to pay, then the more time you have to work or invest or what have you, to be able to own it. Not going back to city. I grew up in Detroit. I hear that, Michael. I lived in Baltimore, Maryland. I lived down in Pinellas Park, Florida. I lived in San Antonio, Texas. I lived in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So yeah, my city times are done too. Already happening in Arizona. Yep, and that's the thing. And we're taught and we're trained, brainwashed, whatever you want to call it, into conveniences, and that's why a lot of people aren't seeing. We can go rabbit hole, conspiracy theory, what have you. But a lot of people, in my mind, aren't catching on that you're giving up everything right now. And what I mean by that is convenience takes away ownership. And without ownership, you're stuck with nothing. So, they got rid of Blockbuster and went to Redbox, right? But you were still able to have physical copies. Now everything's gone to Netflix, Disney Plus, and all that. You're stuck paying a subscription. If you don't pay that subscription, you don't have anything. If you had a DVD or a VHS or an 8-track or a record or what have you, a CD, a tape, a floppy disk, all these different things, you still owned it until you damaged it, then it was destroyed. But all the digital stuff, they're taking us digital, because then you don't own anything. With the smart cities, you don't need a car. So without a car, you can't go nowhere. Without working, you can't pay for your subscriptions. You don't have anything to watch, anything to entertain, anything to do. Just like I bought some game cams, and I bought the ones without the SD cards, because they send a thing to my phone so I can see on my phone what is happening on the Homesteader here at the restaurant. But if you don't pay that subscription, you can't use the device, because there's no place to put an SD card. So, like that. Pay $69 for a camera system, and it's worthless unless you continue paying the $30 a month to be able to use their service. So that's what they're slowly phasing in. And I have a feeling eventually that will be cars and everything else. Everything's going to be subscription based, and you're going to be stuck. So I don't know. I heated my house this whole winter for $10 of gas for my chainsaw. Yep, Michael, but guess what? When you're 90 years old, you ain't going to be out there chainsawing. So, that $10 ain't going to happen. You're going to need something different. So you got to start thinking that way. Look, if a millennial is thinking about the future, then the boomers should have already been in that boat. They should have already been focused. But with all said and done, this past week was decent, minus, all the expenses. Buying this, I got to get the brakes done. Got to get fencing done. That's going to take a while. If the restaurant sells, like I said, we're going to see how that goes. That might throw everything up in the air. Definitely, that's going to change my life. If selling a restaurant goes through, like I said, that gives me whatever, let's see, 38.5. So that gives me, well, no, I'll have less than 38,500 after paying the bank taxes and all that type of stuff. Right away, it goes for $225 a cord around here to buy wood. See, they don't even sell by the cord out here. They sell by ricks. And I never heard of that until I moved to Arkansas. There's 3 ricks per cord. And I think it's like $60 a rick or something like that. 60 or 90 something. I don't know. We have so many woods out here though. So, people burn wood all day, all night around here, instead of selling it because you can get wood everywhere. But if the restaurant does end up selling, that's going to be the biggest change, because if the homestead sold the 20 acres, I'm only looking at like $5,000 to $8,000. So I couldn't do much with that. But for like $30,000, like I said, I can get the batteries, I can get the hot tub. That's definitely going to have to happen, because if I get the hot tub, then I don't need the gym membership. I keep going back gym membership because I'm thinking I'm not going to have a way to bathe over there. But if I get the hot tub, that works. Yep. But I got to get the shed, try to get some type of water system going. Not sure on videos, that might cut out. I know everybody's still asking about animal videos, animal pictures. I'm going to put up a picture tonight when I get done. Big Mama, the cow that I told you broke her horn last week, dangled on her head. It finally fell off, and within 4 minutes, Chubbs found the horn. Saw him chewing on something, went to find out what it was, and he found her horn. So I got a picture of him with the horn. I'm not sure if I have any other pictures. I did get a picture of Mocha, the little baby cow. Big Mama still hasn't had her baby. All the other animals seem to be good. Fagin, the one fat white goat with the big horns, he cracked one of his horns now, so it's dangling a little bit. So I don't know what they're doing, cracking their horns. They need to calm it down, but they won't have horns to do it shortly, so it won't matter. I'm going to try to shear Miracle some point before summer gets here. He hasn't been sheared in several years now. I got to find all the shears that's somewhere out here on the porch. But yeah, gardening-wise, yeah, the baby goats are awesome. And like I said, I just had that other little baby girl goat born. So that's always awesome, going over, seeing new babies. I'm hoping Mama Silverton has another girl, since I have all these boys. I don't need all these bulls. So eventually I need to either start posting some of the bulls for sale or take a bull to the butcher. However, I need a freezer for that. I need money for the butcher. So I'm stuck in limbo, spend money on feed, spend money at butcher, but nowhere to put the meat. So eventually I'm going to get there. I need Colorado to sell. That's what I really need. I need Colorado to sell. Then that gives me the money to build a house. I can have regular house, regular freezers, my live stream where you guys can see some of the animals, do a lot more videos because I'll be living over there. And that's another thing too. If the restaurant does sell in a week and a half or whatever, most likely I'm going to be canceling several Sunday, Monday vlogs going forward, and probably any type of post going forward. So this channel will probably go dark like the eclipse tomorrow. due to the fact that I'm going to be scrambling. I'm going to be trying to get a shed, trying to get everything boxed up here, get everything moved over there, get everything cleaned here. Trying to figure out a hot tub so I have bathing over there, trying to figure out a fridge, freezer, because in the contract, all my appliances go with the sale. So I got to buy all new appliances as well. So I might be scatterbrained for a little bit. The channel might go dark for a little bit, but you know, we'll see how that all goes. Now that you have your dogs frequently on the ranch, how do you control ticks on all your animals? I need to hit the Mega Millions. Give me 1 second. I'll show you guys the dogs. I'm going to run back there and grab what I got, and I'll show you what I use for ticks and everything. I'm not coming to spray you. So right here is permethrin 10%. This is the original gallon I bought when I first moved out here. It's still got some in it. And then one of the new packs. So right up. Show you the back, show you the front. So permethrin 10. This right here is an ounce for this whole canister, for this small little box. You put one of those in with 1 gallon of water. You pump it up and you spray it. And permethrin is natural or whatever. It's some type of flower thing. I looked it up a while ago. I spray this right on my skin. And I'll tell you, probably more information than you need, but I'll be butt naked spraying myself with this tomorrow because we've been in the mid 80s and I'm getting tired of all the ticks. So I spray this directly on my skin. Doesn't bother me. Now, if you do more than that ounce, which depends on what you want to use it for, it can burn a little bit. I made during like, I want to say the second week of July, sometimes the first week of July until about September, I'll go ahead and make this stronger because we have seed tick season here and the seed ticks are horrendous. So I make this a little bit stronger. And when I make it stronger, it does burn a little bit of my skin, but I can put bleach and stuff on my skin. I'm an alien, so this stuff doesn't bother me. But I loosen the nozzle so it sprays the stream, and I go from the back of my dog's head all the way down to the tip of their tail. And permethrin breaks down in the sun. It breaks down in the wash and stuff like that. So like if you spray your clothes, it will stay on your clothes for, I think it's 4 or 5 wash cycles, and then it's dead. And then of course in the sun, it breaks down within 10 days. So it's something you have to continue to use. But like I said, you know, I got the original gallon from 2020 and another bottle I bought just so I can use this thing because I threw the original small one that I bought out. So that way I can measure. So I just pour that into here to get my 1 ounce measurement. But that works great. Here in the restaurant, I sprayed around the outside of the building. When I first got the restaurant, I haven't done it in a long time because I got spiders and stuff in here now. But when I first bought this, I sprayed all the way around the building. I didn't have anything in here. No cockroaches, no spiders, no ants, no roly-polies, no nothing. It kills anything insect. You want to be careful because this is one of the main culprits for honeybees and stuff like that. It kills all insects. So that's the bad thing. Kill butterflies, kills moths, kills honeybees, bumblebees, wasps, all that. But I can tell you, when I spray this all over me, you know, you can just spray your clothes, which I'm going to do that tonight. My pants are going to get sprayed inside and out with the permethrin so it's dry because I don't like being wet. But summertime, I spray this on my skin completely, and I'll come home. You might see ticks crawling on you, but they're not attached. They die before they attach. And then on the dogs, you know, permethrin is one of the things that's in the tablets that I was buying from the vet. This is a whole lot cheaper. This bottle was $59.99 for a gallon back in the day. I don't know what it is now. And these small bottles don't have a price on it. But when you're only using an ounce of permethrin with a gallon of water, it takes a lot of time to go through a gallon. In summertime as well, just to do a little added benefit when tick seasons, well, sea tick seasons enforce, the couches that the dogs are laying on, I spray the couches and I spray my bed. That way, if a tick gets onto a dog where it's not treated, or is on the bottom of my boot, or it got on some piece of clothing or a glove or something I bring in that wasn't treated, if they get to the couches where the dogs get off, you know, hopping up on, and the tick falls off onto the couch, or if the dogs jump in bed and a tick is in my bed, it comes in contact with that permethrin and it's dead. The only thing is, every 10 days you want to spray. The horses, cattle, you know, it has mixtures for all that. You can do pigs, you can do goats, you can do everything. So what I do, like I said, I just do a stream. The animals don't like being sprayed, so what I do is I put feed in. I put this 1 gallon sprayer in a 5 gallon bucket, so only thing sticking out is the wand, and I just go by and hit everybody's back. I'm sure there's a limit to how much you want to spray, but I mean, I spray myself every day, and it's supposed to last 10 days. And like it says in here, for dogs, not to spray more than every 7 days. I'm an alien, so you might want to do your research before doing it. But I can tell you, you don't want any bugs in your house. Ants, spiders, roaches, fleas, ticks, anything, silverfish, whatever you have crawling around your house, spray on the outside, spray on the inside. You can go along your wall inside of your house if you want to, spray around vents, any pipes coming in the house, any wires coming in the house. It keeps everything out. I wouldn't recommend spraying your whole yard because, like I said, then you're going to have bees dying and stuff like that. So you do want to try to contain. You don't want to, devastate the entire insect population. But my philosophy is, comes in the house, it needs to be dead. It shouldn't be in the house. So that's why I normally spray inside. I haven't sprayed inside here, but I do plan to spray inside the shed. I'm going to spray outside the shed and underneath the shed, keep everything out. What I spray underneath the shed will last more than 10 days because there won't be sunlight under there. The dogs go under there, so it's good that anything that crawls under shed, I don't have to worry about getting the dog sick. And ticks are not something you want to mess with. But with all that said and done, we're going to find out what happens over the next week and a half if this is actually sold, where I'll be going from there, what massive changes could potentially be happening at the homestead. And the guy that I'm under contract right now for the restaurant is potentially interested in buying my 20 acres of the homestead as well. So he said he wants to get this taken care of first, and then we're talking about the homestead. So might have a buyer for the homestead, so that give me another $5,000 to $8,000 to work with. So we all know I want to get more excavation work done, batteries, water, hot tub, all that type of stuff. So we'll see where it goes. I'll let everybody know. I will do an update. If it closes, I'll let everybody know it closes, and then I'll be like, okay, for the next several weeks, channel's going dark. I normally don't do that unless something massive has happened in the past, which I've done a couple times. Like when I lost my grandfather, when I lost Monkey and stuff like that, Rex the kangaroo. But yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I hope everybody has a great week. We got some warm weather coming up, possibly a lot of rain. Get a lot of work done in here. DT and all the other boomers out there, it's past your bedtime. Got to get to bed. And solar eclipse is tomorrow for those of you that don't know. My mind, they blew that out of proportion. They got schools here blocked with buses so people can't park. They said National Guard, emergency management, and state of emergency in place for Arkansas. There ain't nobody here. Don't believe all the hype. They're just trying to get you to go out and buy stuff. All these small businesses around here, I feel bad for them. They went and bought all these t-shirts and glasses and all this stuff. They thought they were going to make all this money. Ain't nobody here. Don't believe everything you hear online, including from this alien. Believe the dogs. With that, like always, live happy, live free. That's the only way to be. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great night. Thank you, DT. Thank you, Grizzly1, Michael, and everybody else that was in here. Let's see. Norman, Amanda, everybody else, and everybody else that sees this later. So have a great night. I'll talk to you guys later.